Hi, my name is Sherry Zarnicki and I'm from A Muse Art Stamps, and I'm here to teach you how to use their clear stamps, especially their fancy borders, to make frames. So the first thing we're going to do is show you the card that we're going to complete today. This is the card. The fancy borders is actually the border that's around here that's used to make the frame, and then we're going to mask the bunny in the basket. So stamp sets are these. This is the fancy border set, which is a clear set from A Muse. This is Simple Celebrations, which is a great set because there's a lot of different holidays and things that you can use on here, and the bunny is the image we're going to use from that set. And then this set is the Simple Wishes set, and the basket is actually the Easter basket that we're going to use. Now, a little tip for organization. What I do is I write A Muse Simple Wishes on all of the carrier sheets for my clear stamps because they're not labeled, and that helps me identify what it is when I'm using it. And also, this little thing right here is a mask. It's stamped on eclipse paper, and it has an adhesive on the back, so it sticks right in the place, and that helps me also to put my stamps away in the right place so that I don't lose them. And what I'm going to first do is take off the basket and mount that on the clear block. This little block has a finger places so you can hold it more easily, and then these lines here help to line up the image. So I just put that on, and that's ready to go for later. The other thing I'm going to show you is this long block. It's also an Apple Pie Memories block, and it has the grid lines on it, which help line up stamps, especially when you have a longer image. So here's the fancy border stamps, and we're going to use the small scallop border. So I peel that off, and then I lay it down and line it up right on the grid. So I know that it's straight. It just really stinks if you are stamping and all of a sudden you realize that your border is not straight, and that helps keep it straight. And the longer the stamp, the harder it is to keep it straight. So that's mounted and ready to go. The next little thing that we need to do is cut a square from a sheet of cardstock, and this is a 2x2 square. And then the next thing you need to do is make an X. What we're doing is making a mask for you to make your frame. So you just take a ruler and you draw a straight line, and then cut one segment of it out with your scissor. Or if you're excellent with your cutter, you can also do that on your cutter. So this is going to be your mask that you're going to use to make the frame. So I start with a block. I'm using this piece of paper just so I don't stamp on my mat. And what I like to do is line everything right up on my mat. This helps me make sure that my stamping is actually right on. I use a repositionable adhesive, and I just put a little bit on there, and then I stick it right exactly on top of the square that I want to stamp. Take my already mounted fancy border, ink it up, and then I stamp directly over the top, allowing the mask to step on the corners. The thing I love about these borders is that you can turn them one way or the other, so the scallop could be on the inside or the outside. So once you stamp one, you'll see that you've taken away this little mask, has not made marks, so you have a great angle on the corners. I peel it off, I rotate it 190, not 190 degree, not 190. 190. Stick that down, ink it again. Now the secret to this is you don't want to make your mask exactly at the corner. You want to lift it a little bit so you can see where the last stamping was. That way you don't get a ghost image, which is like a white line around your mask. And then you line it up and you stamp again. And if you line your grids up with your mat, it helps to make the image come real clean. So there's one corner, and then you continue on until you have all four corners done, which I've done here. So once you have all four corners made, you decide on the card the bunny was the thing that stood up the most towards you. So that's the first thing you stamp, and you ink him up. I always have to cover my pads because I usually stick my fingers on it if they're not covered. And stamp him down. Now I've already cut a mask for him, And I store him also on my index carrier sheet or right on my block so that I can find him easily when I'm making projects. And usually I'll be making more than one card, so I like to keep them right close by. And then I just put him over the image that I just stamped. I'm not too concerned about this side of the bunny lining up because the basket doesn't cover that side of the bunny. So once I've covered him up, whoops, ink up the other image that I'm going to place. So this can work on anything. It just happens to be the bunny in the basket today, but you can do this with anything. And then I stamp right over the top. The mask blocks the bunny so that he's sitting in front. That's as simple as that. Now he's in front of the basket and you've got just a little bit of coloring to do and shading to do with your favorite Copic markers. And then once you've colored them, and this one I colored with a little purple that matched the fancy border color that I used, just color them up and then mount them up with some mounting tape and use your favorite sentiment. A couple other cards that I've done is this one with the fancy border and the Simple Wishes set with a little, oh actually this is a Simple Celebrations birdhouse. And the Easter Greetings is a wood-mounted stamp, and I've just stamped the pinking one to make it look like grass. And then another one I did was with the solid border. Now this one's hard to see a little bit because it's a lot of pastel colors, but then I just colored with my Copic markers, and that was very simple and easy to do. You can also do your masks at all different sizes. So this is how I have other masks cut, and I just use my repositionable. I hold them all together, and I just keep track of them in my little stamping to-go bin. So I have 2.5, I have 3 inch, I have 3 1/4 inch, and I just keep them all stacked up together. So that's the best way to store these, and it's a great technique, and you can use any border stamps. You can make this mask for 6x6 and use it for scrapbooking, as long as your image, your fancy border image, or the image that you're using is long enough to go within that template, you're all set to go. So there's more information and lots of good products to purchase at A Muse Art Stamps, and that's www.amuseartstamps.com. Thank you so much for joining me.